Hello and welcome back to the one, the only Welsh Watch podcast. Today it's episode 9 and it's a comfy one today. What can you do about it? I'm joined by the usual idiots. I'm joined with Lee.
Hello, everyone.
Tom.
Hiya.
Ben Evans.
Hello.
And Jack.
Hello.
Today we got a packed episode, to be honest, because it's been such a busy couple of weeks. So let's just get straight into it, shall we? Let's go. So today we're going to do a little player comparisons. First of all, we're going to compare Sheffield United's Ethan Ampadu, baller, we all know that, and Stoke City's Joe Allen. Obviously, they're both defensive midfielders, but they play completely different. I'll kick it off today. I would pick Joe Allen. This is going for the Euros, by the way, for the Euro squad. I picked Joe Allen. I know it might be a bit of a controversial one, but I think with his experience, his hunger, he can get back, he can go forward, he can score goals. And I just think at this moment in time, although he has just come off like a major injury, I think he's the one to just get in the squad. Maybe very controversial though. Ben, what do you think? I know you've got a strong opinion on this one.
I wouldn't even call it a strong opinion. I just think it's the right opinion. I think Ethan Ampadu, straight in there. I've said it from the start. He's in our starting team. I think he gets over everyone in our defensive midfield and just general defence. And I think his youth, he plays more regularly. He's having really good last few games. He's like Sheffield United finally got 3 wins under the hat now, and he's played a big part in that. So, and he'll do the same thing for Wales. So as much as I love Joe Allen, great player, similar sort of player, I suppose, Ampadu over him.
Jack, for a second, just cast your mind back to 2016. The summer of 2016. Joe Allen in that midfield. He almost took us to a Euros glory. For that alone, who would you pick? Joe Allen or the boy himself, Ethan Ampadu?
Well, honestly, of course, it's a tough one. But Ampadu, I do like his passing ability, but I think he has an edge over Joe Allen, in my opinion. But the experience Joe Allen has from what he did in 2016, I think when he's on pitch in this Euros, I just think he'll be able to do it again. I just think the confidence will come back to him. And yeah, they're so similar. It's so tough. But in my opinion, I'm going to go with Joe Allen.
2-1 so far. Tom, who would you go with, Joe Allen or Ethan Ampadu?
It is a very tough one, as you've all said. Obviously, Joe Allen's got the experience because he was there 5 years ago in France. Ethan has been fantastic for the last season, and what he's been doing at Sheffield United has been underlooked, to be honest, because Sheffield United have been struggling, but he's still been doing relatively well. I think just I'm going to give it to Ethan. Just.
Oh, this is... Lee, you've got the deciding vote here. For the Welsh Watch, on behalf of the Welsh Watch podcast, who goes into that squad? It's no pressure. Go for it, Lee. All yours.
For me, it's Ampadu.
Sorry, I'll give it to the baller. Why is that?
Well, I think you can't live in the past. 5 years was 5 years ago. Allen had a great tournament, don't get me wrong, and he's still a great player now. But it's all about the future. And Ampadu, he's got that versatility. And I feel like if Wales go 1-0 down in the game, you're going to have to sacrifice maybe a defender. You can just bring Ethan Ampadu back into the defence and then bring on an attacking player. I think he just offers that little bit more than Allen does now. And like you've got Ramsey in midfield as well. I think you'd want to keep him on. So I think Allen is the one to be sacrificed. So yeah, Ampadu for me.
Well, there we are, Jack. Unfortunately, your lookalike doesn't get picked for the squad, but we move forward. 3-2 to Ethan Ampadu. Little ring to that. Let's go on to the next one. So we're going to talk about Tyler Roberts of Leeds United versus Robbie Mota of Stoke City. For me, this is a very difficult one. You've got to look at it. Obviously, Tyler Roberts is playing underneath Marcelo Bielsa. Brilliant manager. He's in that Premier League squad. Although he doesn't get every minute, he still has that experience in the Premier League this season. whereas Robbie Matondo had a rather dry spell over in Germany, came back to Stoke recently, has that championship quality and the time. But for me, I'd go with Tyler Roberts just for the fact that he's playing under Marcelo Bielsa. He's playing next to top-class strikers, wingers. He's just in that Premier League squad. So I know it might be controversial again, but so far it is 1-0 Tyler Roberts. Ben, what do you think?
For me, this one's a bit more closer. I think they're similar again in terms of level of play. Weirdly, I don't know if I was actually running gigs. I don't think either of them were actually in the starting team. But if I had to start one and I was picking one, I'd probably say Robbie. I think he's faster. I think he maybe lacks his touch can be improved, but that'll just come with experience. But looking at the Euros now, I think he'll be in the squad. I think both of them will be in the squad. But if I had to start one, it'd be Robbie, just purely for, I think, just that bit more quality. And I just don't think Roberts has been given enough of a chance yet.
Very good point. Jack, just think, right? Everyone's injured, but you've got room for one more player. It's either Robbie or Roberts. Who do you pick?
So yeah, it's tough. In my opinion, if Alan was on the pitch and then Matondo, they got a bit of links with Stoke, and that could work. But clearly, Alan's not going. Alan's not on the team sheet for us, so that's out the window. But yeah, Matondo, he's decent and all, but I think Roberts does have a little bit of an edge. Obviously, playing with better players as well for a start, and yeah, the game time as well. But it's a tough one, really. I'll probably have to go with Roberts. Obviously, playing with Leeds, I think tougher opposition. Obviously, the game time he's not getting as much as he might want to, but for the Euros, I would pick Roberts.
So far, 2-1. Wait, you went with Robbie, didn't you, Ben?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 2-1. Right, boys, back to you. Who would you pick? Obviously, you got Marcelo Bielsa managing Tyler Roberts. He was nominated for Manager of the Year, I think. Very weird, that one anyway. Tom, what do you think? Who do you pick?
It is a tough one, again. That's why we're doing this. Tyler Roberts hasn't completed even an hour of Premier League football in any game yet this season. So as much as he's got that Premier League experience, he's not necessarily going to have the match fitness. Obviously, again, same as Ben, neither of them are going to start unless we've got a lot of injury problems. But Robbie's been playing more minutes at Stoke, I think. So can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm agreeing with the madman in the bucket hat for the second time this episode. And Robbie is getting the jersey for me.
Lee, once again, it comes to you for the deciding vote. 2-2 at the moment. Who's in that squad? Who would you pick? Robbie Matondo, Tyler Roberts. Go on.
For me, it is Robbie Matondo.
Oh, Jack. Second one we've gone together and we've been let down by the other boys. Why is that, Lee?
I just think he's got a bit more pace. You want that energy in a tournament. I don't see him starting, but if he does come on, I think he just gives you that, that excitement. He could go down the wing, put in the cross. Kiefer Moore could head it in. Who knows?
I need that.
And he's just been everywhere as well. Obviously, he was at Schalke one time, and he's been in Manchester City's, under 23s and that.
And Cardiff.
So he's been around, which I think is going to be really helpful. Whereas like Tyler Roberts, he's not getting maybe the game time he needs at Leeds, and hasn't scored yet this season, which I think could fault him.
Well, there we are, Jack. We lost 2-0.
To be fair, you can't disagree, mind. It is tough, so yeah.
I guess we'll have to make it up next week. But this is your time to make it up. You have an interview on the way. Go on. Introduce you and let's get it going.
So last week I was able to interview Kathryn Morgan, as she just had a little bit of an inside working with Jane Ludlow. Obviously she departed, so a few questions for her and a little bit of an insight coming from a coach. So yeah, I hope you enjoy, guys, and there you go. Hello, Kathryn. Would you like to introduce yourself to the viewers who are watching?
Yeah, my name is Kathryn Morgan. I live in Merthyr Tydfil. I'm an ex-international of 51 caps. And I was under 17s manager for the girls team, but obviously now Jane has gone, that unfortunately is no longer the case.
Over the past week, how has the departure of Jane Ludlow affected you and also the squad as well?
Yeah, I think obviously it was a massive shock. I've known Jane, for a long, long time, over 25 years, and I just felt quite saddened. Really, I was in my garage. I've converted my garage into a gym, so I was just on the bike, and then someone sent me a message, and I just clicked on the link. And I think for me, first of all, it was a little bit of sadness as to how that decision has been made. There's no smoke without fire, and obviously something has instigated that decision. And I just immediately felt that the work that Jane has done over the last 6 years, it's big shoes to fill now for somebody who possibly are just going to get the same resources. They're not going to get any more. And I fear for the women's game with the development.
Brilliant. Do you see anyone in mind who you think could improve on what Jane has been able to achieve over the last 6 years? Obviously, that's, as you said, the resources are not going to change, so it's still as difficult as ever.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough one for me because I don't quite understand, maybe what the thinking is of the Welsh FA. Do they know somebody who is better than Jane to come and do the job, or do they know somebody? We don't know. It's all speculation, obviously, but I think that it's a tough job, Jack, to win 3 international teams. She was in charge of the 17s, the 19s, and the seniors. Whereas, you look at France, Germany, Norway. That national team manager is only in charge of 1 team. So therefore, you're splitting your job between 3 different squads. You're going away to Europe for 10, 15 days at a time. It's a huge ask, and I think that whoever throws their name in the hat, I think they have to be mindful that that won't change, and they're not just taking on 1 job; they're ultimately taking on 3 full-time posts.
Obviously, there's a lot of pressure on whoever the head coach is coming in, and obviously, in a few months' time, the World Cup qualifiers taking place. So, do you think they're going to crack under the pressure? Because it is asking a lot for whoever's about to come in.
Yeah, I think first and foremost, the players are desperately disappointed and saddened. They feel as if, those 2 games against Northern Ireland in the last, qualifying campaign, 2 draws. There's no loss. Obviously we lost 1-0 twice to Norway, but, we've only drawn against Northern Ireland, and it looks as if that's cost Jane Ludlow her job. Now, from somebody who's been in the system since 1995, I can put my hand on my heart and say that people need to realise how small a pool of player we have in Wales to play international football. It was the same when I played, and it's the same now. If you have 20 players maximum who are honestly able to, walk out on that field and understand, the tactics, be able to produce the technical elements, understand the game plan. We haven't got, England's, who've got probably, 500 girls. We're a very, very small nation, and because there's no structure in place with the Welsh FA, no proper structure, from 10 years old, where we get the girls at 10 years old and we develop into senior players by the time they're 19. That's what we need. Because we haven't got that, whoever comes in has got to basically start again. And I just think that sometimes the grass is not always greener on the other side, and people need to realise when we, I was under 17s manager. I get these girls for 1 year's preparation, so they come to me when they're 15, and I've only got them for 1 year. That ultimately could mean 3 camps. That's 15 days. How can I turn them players into competing against France, Germany, Iceland, Belgium? It is nigh impossible. So I think that, whoever comes in must realise how big the job is. The girls will be fine. The girls are ultimate professionals. They want to play for their country, but they will be, I believe they will be frustrated that this momentum has been broken up.
Yeah, definitely. It's such a tough job. And I don't know how Jane Ludlow kept going for the 6 years and everyone who was taking part as well. But a final question, I'm going to move over to the men's national side. Obviously, the Euros is coming up now in a few months. How far do you think we're going to get this year?
Well, you know, to be honest, Jack, I just literally asked for a refund on my tickets. So I'm absolutely devastated. Because I was obviously going to the Rome game with my 9-year-old nephew and my sister. So, you know, I think because UEFA's announcement as regards are they not quite sure where the venue is going to be and if the hosts change their minds, we had to make a decision by January the 26th and I couldn't afford to just lose that money. You know, I might go as a pundit. It's a long shot, really, but you never know. I live in hope. But I just think that, you know, we've had a good Nations League campaign. You know, I've been fortunate enough to commentate on Radio Cymru for all them games, and there were times, possibly in October, that I thought we won't win this group. You know, we won't. You know, but fair play, the boys have pulled it out of the bag, and you know, in the end, we found a way to win. And I think if teams, you know, if you don't play very well, but you find a way to win, that is a sign of a good team. I think that hopefully, I think we get out to the group stages, and then for me, possibly, just depends on injuries and strength in depth and form. You know, I mean, the COVID-19 obviously has been a bit of a nightmare. You know, we need players to play consistently. I look at the likes of Vokes and boys who are playing for Cardiff every week. You know, I've been lucky enough to watch him a couple of times. I'm not quite sure he's there. He's not Joe Allen, we know that, but I'm not sure we got that strength and depth in the midfield. So for me, I think anything beyond the quarters would be successful.
I would take that as well. I'd be happy anything beyond the quarters. But yeah, hopefully we get a tournament like 2016 with all the thrills, but without the fans there, obviously it's going to be a bit of a downfall for everyone missing out. But that is brilliant. Thank you, Kath. Thank you for answering my questions today.
You're very welcome, Jack. Very welcome.
Thank you. And that's back to you, Ben.
Thanks for that, Jack. That was a brilliant interview. We all loved it. I hope everyone at home loved that as well. And let's just move on. Let's go on to the next bit. We're going to talk about the transfers. So it's been a big transfer window for a lot of players, but not really Wales. The Welsh players haven't moved everywhere, but Cardiff City have brought a Welsh boy through the doors. Johnny Williams, is now a Cardiff City player. However, just before we start recording, I did have news that Johnny Williams was injured and will not be playing for a bit. Obviously, he had a knock in training. What a shot. That's the Cardiff luck for you, but...
Yeah, we reckon it was Aidan Flint who did it as well.
Oh, it was definitely Aidan Flint. Oh, clumsy boy. Anyway, Ben, Cardiff City fan, what do you think? What do you think on the move? Is it a good move?
I'd have signed him just for his smile. But in a normal response, yeah, he's good. I think he's the right kind of player. We want more Welsh players in the club. And he's Welsh. So it wasn't really a position I'd say we needed strengthening, but there's been, not enough creativity this season for us, that's safe to say. So I think he brings that. And once he starts, I think he'll play more off the bench, but he's the right kind of player you want coming on. So I'm excited to see him play. And if he just gets a goal, I think every Cardiff fan's going to love that. So,
Jack, I'm going to come to you for this. We obviously just heard about the smile from Ben. What about the beard? I know you love a bit of hair on the head. What about on the chin? What do you think of his beard?
Yeah, he's got a brilliant beard and good haircut too. So, but yeah, Johnny, I think it's a brilliant signing. Like, it's like Ben said, the creativity, like we do need a lot more of that. I hate to say it, but, stay up. But, obviously you said about this injury, hopefully it ain't for too long. I don't know too much about it, but yeah, like Ben said, coming off the bench is possibly that's where he'd be coming from. But yeah, I just want to see him play. It'd be nice to see him play. So yeah, I can't wait. Hopefully, got to wait a bit longer now, but we shall see.
Obviously, we've just had to look at the Cardiff City squad and how it impacts them. Tom, what about the Wales squad? Looking forward, is this a big move for the Wales squad, for the Welsh fans? Is it one to be excited about?
I think it's a fantastic move for Johnny and for Wales. Obviously, Rambo has had a lot of injury troubles in the last few years, missed a lot of Welsh duty with it. So I think for Johnny to be in the Cardiff setup now and being with, obviously, Harry Wilson, Big Kiefer in training every week, that's going to help him build up that sort of recognition of their way of playing that we've spoken about with, obviously, the Welsh boys at Stoke as well. So if Rambo were to go down with an injury just before or during the Euros, Johnny is someone that could step into that place. And obviously he's then got that link up with Harry and Kiefer to take into the tournament.
Lee obviously scored a goal in the last campaign, big goal as well. Do you think this is a good move for him? Do you think he needs that bit of, obviously he's playing at Charlton as well, but the step up to the Championship, is that one that will benefit the Welsh squad?
I think it will, yeah. You saw in the last tournament, he was a good player. And I think he's getting to the end of his career now, near the end. So it'll be good that he's stepped up in league again so he can get firing fit. Hopefully he can start. I hope he can develop a very good, link-up play with Moore and Wilson at Cardiff. Because if those three can start firing, Cardiff could be going up, and so could Wales.
Very controversial on that about Cardiff. I think closer to going down at the moment. But obviously that's Johnny Williams. Brilliant smile, brilliant beard, lovely shiny head. Let's hope he can go on with Cardiff, do some brilliant things, then go to Wales. So now we're just going to briefly mention Regan Paul, the under-21 captain for Wales, obviously former Manchester United. He was at the MK Dons, but now he's joined Lincoln. I've seen a bit of Regan Paul in the past with Manchester United in the youth games. He's a very good talent for the future, and I think it's a brilliant move because he will get some good minutes. Lincoln are on fire at the moment. So I think this is a positive move for Wales. He is one for the future as well. So Ben, what do you think? Obviously, we've got a game coming up soon, Mexico. Would you put him in the squad? Because over the past few weeks, I've put about 40 players in that squad. Would you put Regan Paul, give him a chance?
My only real experience of seeing him was on FIFA when I had him in my career mode back in the day. So I can't say I've seen much of him other than, the clips of under 21s you see. But I've heard, he was part of the Man United Youth Academy. Not everyone gets that opportunity, so he's got to be decent. And I feel like, no, he's not going to be in the Euro squad. He's not. Whether you think so or not, I don't think so. But it's just, again, another promising young player. Hopefully he can improve. And yeah, I just want to see it. I want to see him. I want to see his name come up on my BBC Sport headline more.
Obviously, the former Wales captain, Ashley Williams, has just retired. Tom, I'm going to come to you for this one. Regan Paul, captain of under 21s. Is it his time in, obviously not now, but next year, is it his time to be the Welsh captain? Will he be a future Welsh captain?
I think from bits and pieces that I've seen of him, he's definitely got sort of leadership credentials. Definitely not next year. That's too soon for him. He's not even in the squad at the moment. But I think, it's always good to see Welsh talents coming through. He's a bit of a ball-playing sort of centre-back. Could potentially move up into midfield like the way that Ethan's done in the last couple of years. And I think he's definitely someone to keep an eye on with Qatar potentially in mind.
Obviously, Jack, we've got some good centre-backs as well. Another youngster, Ben Cabango, Swansea City player. Looking forward to the future, who would you favour? Obviously, he's got a lot more experience in the bigger league, Ben Cabango. But who would you favour going into the Qatar World Cup?
Obviously, I don't know. That I think for the future, looking at those two players, it's quite tough. I haven't seen too much, but it's really promising to see that these players coming through. But for me, I really don't know. I really don't know between the two. I don't think I can decide, but it's early days. So if I was to decide, I can't decide, honestly. It's early days. I want to see a bit more. But yeah, it's really good that they're both promising players, and for the future, for the World Cup as well. It's great to see.
Lee, how big is this for Wales to have a player move into a decent club in Lincoln? They're obviously on fire at the moment. How do you think this move's going to benefit Regan Poole?
I think it's a very good move. Yeah, if he can nail down a place in that team, then that's a very good sign for the future. But I think it's important that we don't put too much pressure on the lad. Like, it's at the start of his career. Let him get on with it. Let him move on. And if he's earned the right to be in this Wales squad, then chuck him in. And then, yeah, he could be very good. But for now, let him get on with it.
There we are. Obviously, everyone out there, keep an eye on Regan Poole. He's on at promotion with Lincoln. But we're going to go on to the predictions. This week, Swansea City play Manchester City in the FA Cup. Swansea are second in the league and on absolute fire. Man City as well, who are on fire in the Premier League. Top of the league, 13 games unbeaten. Haven't conceded in absolute donkey's years. This is the 5th round. For me, I think obviously Man City are going to progress into the 6th. But I don't think it's going to be as dominant as people think. I think Swansea are going to grab a goal because they are on fire at the moment. I think it'll be 2-1 to Manchester City. Ben, what do you think?
Pretty similar, to be honest. I think Man City, I think they'll do the domestic treble again like they did a couple of years ago. I think they'll win the FA Cup, League and League Cup, which are against Spurs in. So, but yeah, I think they'll win this game. I think it'll be I don't think it'll be a domination. I think Swansea will be more focused on the league anyway. They want promotion. But I think similar to, I'd say 3-1 Man City.
Jack, what do you think? Man City take you or Swansea going to cause the upset?
No, I don't think Swansea will want to cause an upset. I think they'll have a good game, to be fair, but quite similar to Ben. I think I'll have to go with 3-1. I think it'd be a good game as a neutral to watch. Like, it'd be a good bit of football. But yeah, I think Man City got to win, really.
Tom, what do you think? Man City or Swansea?
Similar to what you've all said, I think it's probably a step too far for Swansea, unfortunately, at this point. And as Jack said, focusing on promotion really for them, getting back up to the Prem more than a cup run for them would probably be their most important thing. So I think I'm going to go 2-0 City.
What do you think, Lee?
I think it's going to be an exciting game. Remember the last game a few years ago? Dan James, what a hit. I do think City will win it because of their quality, but I think Swansea will put up a good game. I'm going to go 2-1 City.
There we are. Obviously, that'll be a cracker of a game. Wednesday night, FA Cup 5th round. The Welsh watch have gone for a clean sweep Man City, but maybe Swansea will cause the upset because they are in form. Let's go to their rivals, Cardiff City. I mean, you boys last week predicted that Mick McCarthy would go on a roll. Has not happened at all. Go on.
He's unbeaten as manager.
Oh, phenomenal. Well, will he turn it around at Rotherham? They play at Rotherham. It's obviously a rearranged game. It was called off for a tiny bit of snow. That's pathetic if you ask me. Literally nothing on the pitch. Anyway, Cardiff sitting 16th. Obviously, been on a poor run. Rotherham 22nd and only 5 points off Cardiff. And Rotherham are in the drop zone. This is a massive game. This is an absolutely massive game. Tuesday night. Oh, I'm going to go with a 1-1. I'm going to go 1-1 draw. I don't think Cardiff are going to bring 3 points back to the Welsh capital. What do you think, Ben? Who's taking them?
I'm telling you they'll bring those 3 points back, and it'll be 2-0 to Cardiff. Kiefer Moore with the first. Second will be Curtis Nelson from the corner. 2-0 Cardiff.
You are crazy. Jack, what do you think?
Ben, I wish I had that confidence. Cardiff bring back 3 points, but Cardiff need to win, honestly. But I think it's going to be a 1-1 as well, Ben. I'm going to have to go with you and say 1-1.
1-1 in a drop zone battle might be a good point, to be honest. Tom, what do you think?
At the moment, I genuinely have even less faith in Cardiff getting a result than I do in Tottenham getting a result. Rotherham have won 3 of their last 5. You lot have got 3 defeats in your last 5.
Unbeaten under the new manager, though.
Losing 2-0 on Tuesday night.
Good prediction. Well, it's probably not a good prediction. I don't want to see that. Lee, what do you think?
To me, this screams 0-0.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. To be honest, I'd be surprised if he even went ahead, considering Rotherham absolutely love calling games off this season. Very wrong if you ask me. Anyway, let's go on to Newport County. They played bottom of the league on Tuesday in Southend. They've lost their last 4 games, Southend have. And Newport, they're 7th with 2 games in hand. And they have signed Nicky Maynard. And that signing actually sparked one of the best transfer videos I've seen in a long time. That GTA one, hats off to Newport County for that one. I thought it was a brilliant video. Nicky Maynard, he will fire. He will absolutely fire on Tuesday night. I'm telling you now. It's going to be 3-0 Newport. Nicky Maynard with 2 goals and an assist. Ben, what do you think?
1-0 Southend.
Sometimes I really despise you. Jack, what do you think?
I don't quite think 3-0 Ben, but not quite like the other Ben. I'm going to have to go with 2-0 Newport.
What do you think, Tom? Newport County going to turn their season back around?
Yeah, I think this is where they sort of swing their fortunes back in their favour a bit. And bottom of the table is the ideal opportunity to do that, really. So I think it's 4-0 Newport.
Ooh, I see a Nicky Maynard's hat-trick in that prediction. Lee, what do you think?
I'm going to snap on Tom and say 4-0.
Oh, Newport fans are absolutely loving you two. Well, that's all we've got time for this week on the Welsh Watch. It was a packed episode and I hope you enjoyed. If you want to go and check out Jack's full interview with Kathryn Morgan, it will be on the YouTube channel. And personally, if you want to go and watch my interview that just recently went up, that's with MB Jess Fishlock about her impact on the LGBT community. It's very inspiring and insightful, so I recommend you go and watch it personally. But that's all we got time for this week. I was your host, Ben Thomas. Ben, say goodbye.
This is my impression of the Welsh Jason Mraz, but goodbye.
Jack.
Goodbye, everyone. Make sure you watch both those interviews. See you next time.
Tom, Lee, go on. Say your goodbyes.
Wow.
See ya.
Thank you very much for watching. See you next week.